Flosstubers, YouTubers, labas, привет, hola. I'm back after my long trip in Lithuania. I managed to tape some of the scenery where I was walking around, but it's gonna take me a while to patch it all together from different places, so maybe it's gonna be in the next video. Very shortly, the weather was there was some hot days and there were a lot of rainy days. I think like in US it was the same thing. So first maybe I'll talk about stitching stuff and then about my excursions and whatnot. So last video I was asking you guys about the mini scissors that I was planning to take in the airplane. I had to switch a couple planes to get there, and it passed through. There was no problem. Nobody confiscated it. They didn't look at my needles, nothing like that. I just went through. And I brought only one thing to stitch there. I thought if I have time in evenings or so. So yeah. So I brought this brand new thing I bought from Russia a little back. It's called Physalis. Beautiful thing. And you see all those little dots here? It's a white thread, and after a while I just stopped counting where I should put and just approximately, I mean, it's a snowdrops, who cares, right? Somewhere around. And you wouldn't believe how it looks so pretty, but how different all those stitches are. So you had the two skein threads making regular cross stitch. You had two skein threads making half cross stitch. You had one skein making cross stitch. You had one skein making half stitch, and there was also back stitching that some were done with two skeins. There was one that even done with the three skeins. So you might have the same color, but like 4 different types of stitches. I mean, it was amazing. Since it was raining quite a bit and me and kids were pretty much stuck in my parents' apartment, and we lived on the 8th floor, so every time just some sunshine comes out, we're out the door and at least go like maybe 20-30 minute walk. So I was hoping to lose weight. Usually I do, because we do so much walking and traveling or just being outside, and this time no. Oh well, maybe I'm eating. So I brought it back and I really want to finish. It's like all I've been doing is that one project. Even we're like back for a week, I'm still working that. So this is what it looks like, my WIP. So it looks, some places it could look, especially with the white, like it's very uneven, but there is some whites are 3 threads and some 1x thread, but look how it's turning out. It's mostly left, I have them mostly like here and a little bit branch here and tiny bit of snow speckle here. So this is what's looking like. You see all those veins in here? It's gonna look beautiful. And do you guys know what is that thing called in English? Because I don't know. This is like inside is like a seed that you can actually eat, but and there's gonna be like leaves in here too. So I'm very happy. It's coming out great. It was my first time using Q-snaps. And right before the trip, I ordered a couple needle minders, my very first, and I love dragons. So there are 2. And I figured out in the airplane it might be bad, areas I'm gonna be dumping my stitching and everywhere. So I never had a grime guard, and I was enabled by a lot of you guys in Stitchmania. And since I'm doing Doctor Who stuff, I got Doctor Who. Luckily there are no weeping angels. If you know Doctor Who, I hate weeping angel. Those angels are freaky. So anyway, I got right before my takeoff, got needle miners and a grime guard. I don't remember who I bought it from, but if I find it, I'll post it below. So yeah, so I've been just sitting and stitching on this thing on my parents' place, looking out the window because you can see far away from 8th floor. So yeah, so that's what I've been working, and again, it's gonna be looking like this. Of course, it's in the picture it doesn't look like beautiful, but when you see all the 3Ds, all those veins just popping out. Another thing of stitching, I was not doing a lot of traveling, so I went in just in all around the town of Kėdainiai, which is like right in the middle of the Lithuania. And there was only like one store that had any kinds of threads that would be good for cross stitching. The only thing that I could find is a regular 6-skein thread, but it was not DMC. It was I believe Russian brand thread that's very similar to DMC, and they had something like a Kreinik, a metallic thread, but it's not Kreinik, it's something else. And so I took a couple pictures in the store, and I found what was sort of like a very, I don't know, maybe 10 count, some kind of canvas, very, very thinly put fabric thread, already stamped with some for cross stitching. So I'll post a picture maybe next time when I put together the trip. And so I didn't buy anything. I know there are some stores in other towns that had more cross stitch stuff, so there was no other fabric. It was a lot of concentration done for like knitting and crocheting. It's, I guess, popular things to sell in there. What else in there? I'm looking. So that's all I worked on in Lithuania, and since I came back, I'm gonna try to finish that, and I'm gonna try to participate in Heat Challenge number 3, which is all about the parking, and I'm gonna continue working on my mini space traveler, which is not for sale anymore in the store. So this is what's gonna look like. I know quite a few of you like it. So this was done for second challenge. I had less than a month to do. So this Kreinik sparkle thing was very annoying to do, and for cross-country stitching, I left this for last thing. So I'm gonna be doing this, continuing with the challenge number 3. We'll see if my parking does better. I've tried twice, I think, not for a very long time, but maybe with this design will be better. Who knows, right? So I got today, we're doing some store hopping with my daughter, and I bought beeswax. It says for quilting thread, but I might take it out. I'll try some beeswax. Some of you, I've heard, like beeswax. Some of you like more thread heaven stuff, and I know somebody put thread heaven blob in this beeswax holder because you can kind of stick your needle through and pull her out versus like holding in the other container and dragging through. So I might do that. We'll see. Some of you like it, beeswax more, some not. So we'll see. And big thing was I got my very first heat addict packet. I ordered that while I was in Lithuania, so I wasn't sure when it's gonna arrive, but it was here like next day when I got back. So that was very cool. And I got Lugana 32 count by Silk Weavers. So it's charcoal gray color. Seems like it's a whole fabric is same color, no like variations, nothing like that. And I love the shiny. My daughter loves the shiny stuff. With their pattern, which I received is which was my wishlist Masquerade Bluebird, and this one does not have a background, so which is kind of cool. I can have a little hand dyed maybe fabric for use for that versus like plain fabric. So I like this design because of colorfulness, I guess. It's kind of whimsical, playful thing. And at the same time, I ordered myself, I like dragons, and apparently, according to my mom, because she follows all this Chinese symbols and stuff, I'm supposed to be a red dragon, red fire dragon, I think, according to my birth year and month. So I'm like, should be going up in flames. I don't have natural red hair, but I like it. So I ordered this dragon kin. Cute. And while I was in Lithuania, I also purchased, I don't remember what's it called, but it's like dragon, I think dragon lair. It's like big fire red dragon guarding gold or something. Reminded me of, what's that, Middle Earth? The Tolkien's trilogy movie. When there was one dragon that was guarding all the golden cave. So it kind of reminded me of that. And I love the pouches. I know some of you are like, blah, blah, we've been getting this stuff. And so I got another one, little needle minder, which is just as, I have another designs. And cute little thread drops. I don't know, I might use it, I might give somebody else as a gift. So yeah, that was a nice little thing to get when you get back from a long, exhausting trip, because maybe I'll tell you next time how exhausting it was. So let's see, what else did I get? I've been considering purchasing quantum frame, and I think I've mentioned before, I was planning to do some a little bit bigger size projects, and I think my beloved is gonna be done. I counted it as I would need the frame at least maybe 90 inches. So is anybody of you have used like 90, not inches, I'm sorry, centimeters long quantum frame, and or there's any way to do it like partially? Have you tried like do in a smaller size frame to put longer piece of fabric? I know quantum, you slide that stick inside, but would it work if it's some, you know, could be at least part of it still folded up fabric, or no? So any suggestions would appreciate it. I know it's gonna be big. Since I have a tall room, I need something bigger to be seen from further away when it's up on the wall. So please let me know if you've tried both ways, or at least one way, and if it works for you or not. So yeah, I'm still considering that. Let's see what else. So yesterday I went with me and my daughter went to the campsite, which is like somewhere in Missouri. There's a Boy Scout big campsite by humongous man-made lake. It was family night. Went there to have a dinner, and there was big order of arrow ceremony right by the lake. It was beautiful and luckily short. Not was like last year's in different camp. And I was thinking, I'm gonna go to Missouri, past St. Louis, go down south, past Festus, and maybe there's some needlecraft shop in there. So I looked up online. There was one mentioned in Farmington, or no, starts with F town. So I looked it up. It's like right there, right where I'm going by on the road, and it would be cool to stop by. I tried to call a couple times, and there were two different phone numbers listed in two different areas on the websites. I even looked up on their Facebook group, but which was not updated since 2015. So it seemed to me like the store probably closed down a while back. So it was kind of sad. So I'm gonna have to. I really would like to support local needle shop stores, and yeah, it's easy to buy, on the websites. Just click a button and they send from big warehouses, but it would be nice to get to know your local needle shops. And there's some things there that they really can tell you how to do something different, because I'm sure the owners are stitchers themselves. Because why would have such interesting specific product if you don't know how to use it, right? Yeah. So I don't know, should I tell you more about my trip or not? Well, I guess a little bit. Maybe next time it will be just the pictures and videos. So if you don't want to hear it, thank you for watching, and I'm already saying thank you for any suggestions that I asked or comments if you're gonna post, and especially all those subscribers. It's so cool to have you guys. And I since I came back and started stitching again, I've been binge watching a lot of you again, and what I missed from past stitchers who I subscribed to now, and newer ones. So it was kind of cool to watch you all. So as I mentioned, I had to switch at least one plane. So one is like transatlantic, go somewhere in Europe, and then you fly smaller plane in Lithuania. So we had to drive all the way to Chicago. Instead of like dragging all the suitcases, local airport back and forth until it's packed up to go overseas. So when I get in Chicago, it was Memorial Day. On Memorial Day, I was flying out, and we were warned, you have to get even at least 3 hours earlier to do the check-in, because it's gonna be crowded, crazy. I guess it was right before we got in, and we got in like at least 3 hours beforehand, and there was barely any line, maybe like 10 people to check in our bags and get my boarding passes. But the problem was, in Chicago airport, all those conveyors for the suitcases, something was wrong, so they're all jammed. And those poor receptionists, I don't know what you call them, where they take in your bags and check your documents to give out boarding passes, they were like crowded with suitcases and bags all around them. They could barely move around. They were trying to get everybody checked in. So I think it's because of that I was. So it's a bit later. So I was saying, because of that little bumper-to-bumper traffic for suitcases, TSA cut off 2 of my locks. I guess they didn't bother to unlock it because I had TSA approved locks to put on. So I had to, when it arrived, luckily nothing was missing. And and I had to buy a couple new ones to come back home. Since we weren't traveling a lot around, we just kind of hung out with my parents a lot. One of the events we checked out and went in downtown, it was NATO dragoons traveling throughout the like Baltic countries. So there were people from Germany, Poland, US, and Lithuanians in that dragoon command. So it was kind of fun, you know. We went and checked out. You can take a pictures, go inside some of the vehicles, and you know, say hello, talk to the soldiers, and I was even able to help a couple of people with translation. So I said hello to some American guys, and we talked. A couple of them were from Florida. There's somebody from Texas, so we talked about the flooding in Texas and stuff like that. So it was kind of nice, and even with the little bit of rain, it was not that bad, you know. Took some pictures posing with them. Yeah, and let's see, I'm checking what I had notes. One of the small trips, it was to see my mom's side of the family. They live by Koroni or Split area. And on one day, we went to do some swimming, and I think we walked by the beach like kilometer in to actually get to the water where it was up to your neck. It was mostly like around like knees height. It was nice and sandy beach, but oh man, it took forever to get to where you can actually try to swim. So all that time we went in there, swam a little bit, came back and talked with some cousins for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes, and we got sunburn. My middle kid is very, very white. Two of us, I think, like more white skin, so all our back was burned, and we were moaning, and it was like hottest day ever with the tropical storm coming in, and we were sleeping in an older house. So there was, of course, no AC, and some of the relatives were sleeping upstairs, and they had to close the windows because of the stormy weather, which was knocking all the windows. But we saw a lot of relatives, you know, cousins and cousins' kids, with the grandkids already kind of stopped by, because a lot of the relatives live in that little, what used to be like a farm town, you know. So there's a lot of aunts and uncles living there too. So it was fun to see a lot of them together, you know, and we had nice time talking and shish kebab, and some of the relatives went and caught some fish, and it was prepared and smoked in the same day, so you can't get any fresher, you know, and it's homemade, so it's hands down is the best taste I've ever had. I'll miss it. So what else? Yeah, so I just hung out with my classmates / a couple of girlfriends that I have still in the town, and stitched in evenings, or while my mom was watching one of the TV shows. I was there in Europe when it was Brexit event, so it was all big thing going on. It's all over TV, and my brother lives in England, so it's close to home, I think, for that. And on the way back, we were supposed to fly back through Helsinki, and it was supposed to be 4-hour wait in there. So I thought, well, since it's on the way to Europe, the plane from Chicago was late at least an hour. We're in such a hurry to switch planes, which instead of 2 hours, we had like 30 minutes to switch planes and run all the way to the side of airport to go through the passport control. So we didn't see a lot of airport parts. So this time I'm like, okay, well, we have 4 hours, right? And that 4 hours turned into 10, because when we got there, there was some kind of problem with the plane, and we didn't know for the longest time what was going on. We were all just sitting and waiting, and it would show us like more information will be available like in an hour and a half. An hour and a half, you come back or just hang around, and it shows again more information in 40 minutes. So finally, captain of the plane, the pilot, came and said, our plane is here, but it was struck by lightning. This and the biggest plane up was struck by lightning, and our plane was coming from China. So there were not a lot of the workers that specializes in this kind of stuff, so they were working on the bigger plane first because that was turned in first. So we didn't know if we're gonna be stranded for the night or not. We got some what I liked, Finnair at least gave us like food vouchers to go get some food, but since we didn't know when we're gonna fly or not, we didn't want to go far away in the airport, so we didn't go through the passport control again. We had to kind of stick to the international flight area, and we're pretty much just able to use Burger King for food for that amount of money. So something more able to eat for everybody versus like sushi. You know, my kids don't like sushi, and neither do I. It's acquired taste, I guess. So we figured out from the time we left my parents' home to the time when we landed in Chicago and went over to my sister-in-law's, who lives just over an hour away, we spent 26 hours in traveling. You know, driving to airport, getting there earlier, a couple hours earlier, and then flying out and all this stuff. So we were exhausted. And then when we came home next day, we had only one day for boys to repack their bags to go for a week-long scout camp, which not the best time to go with the time changes and all the weather with the storms. They had to hide out a couple of times. So yeah, in the forest with this kind of weather, yeah, it's not much fun, but there's a huge lake and a lot of other activities to do. So that's my life so far, and they're coming back tomorrow, so we'll be all together again, and I'll get to the stitching heat challenge and hopefully finishing. For the next video, I'll have all finished my physalis flower that I showed earlier. I'm really trying not to start anything new since I participated in Stitch Mania. From Stitch Mania, I finished only 2 things to do, so I think I'm gonna try to work more, maybe with some scheduling sort of, because I don't like really stick to the schedule. I think it's what floats my boat. I'll do that one. And yeah, so that's it. So put your comments, what you thought, and if you had any experiences like I had with the airports, you know, or driving problems, or if you had any trouble with your scissors. I'll show you maybe next time the ones I bought that supposedly should be perfect for airports and airplanes. So okay, talk to you later. Bye bye.